right. I really love the music on that thing.
Yeah.
It gets me in the groove. It gets me in the groove. I want to go to a speakeasy and get me an old fashioned and do 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 do. Anyway, here we are at the Crystal Clearpoint Studio with Miles of Smiles, and we have Luann Morse and Deborah Colleen Rose. And Crystal's not here because she's playing hooky. I know where she is, but I'm not telling y'all. And we missed last week, but we didn't. I have to tell you that I was under the weather. I was in a tube, literally, an MRI tube. And Crystal and Luann carried on without me. And I do mean carried on. Something fierce I heard. I was looking forward to seeing the video and it's lost. It's gone.
I'm terribly sorry, but it is like disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know where it went. I don't even think it's Luann's fault, but we're going to blame her anyway.
I'll take it.
Just because she was the one in charge. And when you're in charge, you have to be accountable.
That's right. You have to take it.
Yeah, you do. You do. You do. You do. Now, let me tell you what we're doing today. No, I'm going to let Luann tell you what we're doing today. Tell them what we're doing.
Well, we went on a preliminary expedition to a possible house with paranormal activity. So a house with possible paranormal activity. It's definitely a house. So we did go in and see and feel energy that was not of this world. So we want to talk about that. We want to tell you a little bit about it because we have a great offer for you at the end.
We do. Yeah. We do. Oh, I was like, yeah, we do. Okay, I forgot.
We do. We have a great offer at the end.
I actually am going to have to rely on Luann's notes for specific details. It wasn't intentional, but I think I kind of took over as lead investigator because I got hooked into the energy first and I got sick because it was so powerful because there was so much going on. And I tend to be like a heroin addict when I'm around energy. I just can't get enough of it. But I was of sound mind enough to go outside and reground myself and then come back into the house. I do remember that. I did that, right?
Oh, well, that's good that you remember that because that was first rattle out of the box. She goes, "Oh, I have to go back outside." And I thought, what in the And I realized, well, okay, I have obsidian and I have hematite. And she chose hematite to go stand in the yard and ground herself.
And there's a reason for that. Did I explain that yesterday?
Yes, that you can blow the obsidian up.
Yeah, I do. I blow obsidian up. I move energy. I don't let energy just take me over. Nobody takes me over. I have to be in control of my body and myself. And when you're moving a lot of energy, and I actually had my spiritual teacher explain this to me years and years ago, and I've done it many, many times. So it's not like a one-time experience. When I'm moving a lot of energy, the obsidian will crack and it doesn't like explode, but it cracks and it shards and it shreds.
I think that's because the obsidian is more like it takes the energy in and holds on to it. The hematite, not so much.
Yeah, the hematite is really soothing. It's very, very soothing to me. And I just feel like I have not a bulletproof vest on, but I just feel like I got a back brace. That's it. It's more like having a back brace on. Yeah, I just feel sturdier and I feel more stable, that type of thing. So I got grounded, went back in the house. I think they thought I was freaking out. I wasn't freaking out. I just had to go and do my business and come back in. Then what did we do? I forget.
Well, we had the most fantastic lunch ever. That's what we did.
They cooked for us.
We were told that we were going to get fed, and we had cornbread, roast, carrots, potatoes, the most spectacular pinto beans, and then we had desserts.
Yeah, and let me clarify something for you guys. I don't like pinto beans. I don't like beans. I don't like, and beans hate me. I'm not a big cornbread eater. This stuff was so good. I had thirds of everything. I've never eaten beans in my life where I'm like, oh my God, I just want to bury my face into this plate and eat it like an animal out of a
Mhm.
trough.
It was
Seriously,
very good food. Very
it
good.
was delicious.
And we thank the homeowner for feeding us first.
Yep, yep. All right, so we ate, had a good time. I got caught up a
We
little bit on the history. Luann took
right.
notes.
We learned that the house was originally built in 1910. Um, it was one of those Sears houses. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I think so. I don't know for you youngsters, people our age don't know this. You could, I mean, everybody talks about these tiny homes, tiny homes, tiny homes, and and the kits and stuff. There were kits in the early 1900s that you could order from Montgomery Ward's in
Or
Sears
Sears.
catalog, and they were usually 2 bedroom, 1 bath houses. And then you could also do that in the 40s and 50s with Jim Walter homes as well. So this is
Mhm.
not a new concept. Get over yourselves, okay?
Yeah,
And
so this had one large bedroom, one smaller bedroom. Everything was connected by a hallway that went from the front door to the back door. And then on the other side was a living area, that a fireplace in the middle of the room that may have been added later, I don't remember. And then a place that was the kitchen slash dining room. So that's what they started with. That house was moved from its original location in 1970 to the location it's in now.
right, right.
Then I don't remember. I don't have my notes in front of me, Deborah. I'm sorry. They
They
disappeared.
may be in my car.
That's okay.
I
So
can't find them.
here's what I do remember. So approximately 2020, maybe 2018, they started, this couple who has it now started changing the house up. The man who lives there was very particular about saving every piece of wood that was in the original house. So when they took off all the wallpaper, they found that there
Sheetrock,
was,
sheetrock. It was underneath the sheetrock.
yeah, sheetrock and then wallpaper and then
Mhm,
boards, just like original
mhm.
houses of that time were, just boards. I think there were like 1 by 12s or 1 by 12s.
They were wide. They were
They were
real
wide.
wide.
So he took those boards that he found, and every room they decided to keep except the bathroom and the closet, he put those wide boards up. And then they added on, oh, there was that one small bedroom off to the, I'm gonna say west, that was a part of the original. So there was one bit, but there was only one bathroom at that time.
So, okay, so let me help you
Okay.
here. Front door, what was the master bedroom was
Mhm,
original. To the left, or I mean to your right, the small bedroom was the original.
mhm.
The straight and narrow area where the dining room and kitchen was original, and
Yeah,
that
but
but had been extended
the
out.
kitchen was an add-on.
Yeah, it had been
The
extended
kitchen.
out longer.
Okay.
And then where the bathroom was actually closet space and stuff. And they had turned into their closet had originally been the hallway, the original
Right.
hallway. Then they added a second story as well, a
Right.
partial second story. So they almost doubled the size of the house with the extensions because they added another bathroom, a small office foyer area, and another bedroom, and then
Bedroom.
what they called the man cave upstairs. That was, but what was interesting is that the man cave is an extension of the original roof. So you've got this commingling of old and new throughout the whole house, primarily.
Right. And the wood that was on the walls, he actually extended down that new hallway to kind of tie everything together. So there's part of the original house in every square foot. If
Mm-hmm.
if you consider that wood that he reclaimed.
Yep.
So
Yep.
they had been seeing doors move, they had been seeing shadows They had been touched. One night they went to bed after a scare and they felt someone draw in a clockwise manner a circle. She felt it on the top of her foot. He felt it on his shoulder. So that's why we're there, because they're still seeing different things go on. So we started in the entryway, which has everything they have in there. All the furnishings was original to the 1900s. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
Late
There were some things
1800s.
that were new, but not most of them
Yeah,
were.
most of the things they got at estate sales and auctions, and they wanted to go back with furniture that you would see in a house of that age. So we were concerned, are these goings on, that's what I'll call them, goings on, because of the house or because of the furniture? So that was the other thing that was of consideration. But when we went in the foyer, there was no particular feeling about anything negative. So you want to tell them when you first kind of felt something might be there?
Well, when I walked in the front doors, it was like I walked into Jello. Okay, that's what it feels like for me, because there was so much energy. This does not mean spirits necessarily. This just means electromagnetic energy. I'm very hypersensitive to electromagnetic energy, and I can blow up computers and watches and light fixtures, and there'll be a little bit of a story toward the end of this that kind of amplifies that as well. And I just felt all of that. So here's a spoiler alert. There are no demons here. There's no negative, horrible ghosts trying to run them out of the house. What we have here is a combination of, there are some spirits, and one of them was very clear about who she was and why she was there. And then we have some residual energy that's just attached to the material going on. So this house, because when I walked in, I immediately was picking up energy of like moonshine, speakeasy type thing. And there is some not hardcore evidence, but there's some indications that moonshine was involved in this house at one time. And can you see that behind me? Oh my God. And then also I lost my train of thought. And also just a lot of brouhaha going on at one time. And we saw evidence of that later on as we were going through. In the front of the house, it was really calm, cool, and collected. There was a lot of activity, sensation in the bathroom that was not the one that, okay, I gotta turn my background off or something. That's distracting to me. The new bathroom that had been added on, there was a lot of residual energy and things coming in there that was related to the items that they had brought in, and we determined that.
Yeah. And you know, they kept seeing shadows coming from the window that was in the master, going across and into the bathroom.
Yes.
But that window was originally, the front door was near there.
Yes. Yes. And it was part of the
one long hallway all through the house.
Yes. And to clarify before we go any further, there have been workers at the house, because they've done extensive work on this house. There have been workers there at the house that have seen people there, only to find that those people are not there. One of the construction workers thought his worker helper was behind him, and he kept yelling at him to hand him the electrical tape, and he never did. So he went and got it himself, and then he went downstairs and the helper was there, and he goes, "Why did you just run off and leave me and not give me any tape?" He goes, "I've been down here eating my sandwich for 20 minutes. What are you talking about?" So there have been people outside of the residents of this home that have had encounters, or have had feelings, or have visions, visual contact, that type of thing. So that's one of the reasons why we agreed to go out there. I'm always a little leery to go to a house when it's just one or two people that live there that think that something's going on, you know. But when you have things that are layers of information, it makes it more interesting to me.
Right. So after we went to the master, then we were in the living room and there really wasn't anything there, the dining room. And then somehow we backtracked and went to the bedroom that was in the hallway that was original.
Did we backtrack? I didn't remember
Yeah,
that.
we backtracked.
Okay.
So in that room,
Oh, I know why. I remember why. Because the dining room was so peaceful. I just wanted to sit down again.
so we
It
went,
was so peaceful in there.
yeah, we went all the way to the end where the new room is that they call the blue room. So I don't remember us finding anything in there.
Now, the blue room had residual, just some white residual that it just needs a dusting to kind of clean it up a little bit and anchor everything down. But no, it was cool. We started picking up more active things in the bathroom, which was the room next door to it.
Which is also new, but it was still a part of the original property when it was moved in 1970. So
No, this bathroom was not. This bathroom was not.
no, but the property, not the bathroom. It was on that property in 1970 is what I'm trying to say.
I got you. I misunderstood.
That's okay. So what did you feel in the bathroom? There was something there, but I don't remember.
It was I just had really bad vertigo, which is it's an overabundance of energy, which is why I say it's just something that needed like a light dusting. You just want to go and I mean that literally. You just go in there and you kind of dust it out and clean it up and freshen it up because it's residual energy and it allows for fresh energy to come in and you can plant your own energy, much like how you were explaining to the resident how to clean and set her intent with her crystals and rocks. It's the same process, but it's with the room.
And I think that was because there was so much there were two pieces of antique in there. One that had turned into the vanity, and the other one was a closet. So,
and of course, anytime you have water involved, water is a huge attraction and it's also a huge anchor. So, you know, I always focus on the water sources in a house. And in fact, and not to give anything away, there's water in this story. And the minute we got there, I started going, where's the water source? Where's the water source? Before we even hit the front door.
Of course, the homeowner is thinking, where do I get my drinking water? And well, from the city. Okay, so a reservoir somewhere nearby. So let's go back to the water thing when we go on the other side.
Yeah.
So then from there, we went into the bedroom that was original to the house, the smallest bedroom. And that's where there was that small bed that looked like a child's bed. And then there was 2 chairs, a dresser, and a vanity top, a little vanity.
Yeah.
And there was also a little child's chair there. So what was it you felt there?
So we had two specific personalities there. One was stronger than the other. And as a side note, the mirror that went to the bureau that was in that room, our other investigator, Martha, had taken that home earlier. She's the one that's had contact with this family on and off for a while. And someone had told them that they felt like the mirror was an issue. I didn't think the mirror was an issue. I had seen it. I'd been in contact with it. I didn't have any problem with the mirror. But what was the situation is that this bureau was attached to one of the original family owners of this house. And they had a Scentsy hot wax thing in that room. And I walked in there and immediately smelled Prince Albert pipe tobacco. And there is no way, if anyone had been in there, like, you know, with a fire pit burning that pipe tobacco, would I have been able to have smelt that with that Scentsy because it was so strong and everything else. But that's immediately what hit me. Plus, there was an undertone of gardenias below that. And gardenias is always a symbol of feminine personality for me. gardenias and magnolias. And so what I was able to come up with is that we had in connection with something in that room, and it was not the bed itself, but something in regards to that bed. We had a young woman in her early 20s who had left the area, and it was her mother knew she was pregnant, but her father did not. And I don't know, I didn't delve into it. I guess I'm weird this way. I just don't go asking a lot of questions that I don't feel like it's any of my business. I like to respect people's privacy, regardless of what side of the veil they're on. But because it wasn't her physical or spiritual presence there, it was just residual emotion that was left there, which will be easy to clean out as well. But the man, he's going to be a little bit of a problem. He's not a bad person or anything. He's just ornery. And he's very attached to the house. And we believe that he was part of the original family that built the house originally, is what we think. Isn't that what we ascertained with everything?
Yes, his name was Caldwell.
Now, let me tell you how we come up with this. We ask questions.
With
you want to tell them?
a dowsing rods.
A set of dowsing rods. There's two of them.
Yes, a set of dowsing rods.
Yes, I use dowsing rods in my investigations. I've had really good luck with dowsing rods most of my life as a child, and then I'd put them away and kind of forgot about them. My grandfather used dowsing rods to find water. He was a sharecropper, and he would use them to find water in the areas that he worked. And I didn't really think about them much until about 10 years ago, and somebody was selling them. And I'm like, well, do you know how these work? He didn't have a clue. Did not have a clue. And I picked them up and immediately started showing them how they worked. It just came to me naturally. And I sat there and sold about 10 pair for them. Didn't pay me a commission, but oh well. And I have a little cute story about this. I had a plumbing issue in my house when we first bought this house 7 years ago. And they found one leak after about $175,000 worth of damage. And they couldn't find the other leak. They used cameras and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm sick of this crap. And I went and got my dowsing rods after 2 weeks of messing with this. And I said, the leak's right here. And the guy looked at me like I was insane. He goes, the leak's not there. There's not even a pipe there. And I said, yeah, there is. And I said, and I have continuous floor in my house. I said, you're going to have to pull up the floor there. The insurance company's already paying for it. Just pull it up. And he pulled it up. And there's this little dribble just coming up out of a little hole about the size of my pinky tip. And he looked at me and he goes, I'll be right back. And he walked out of the house and he got in his truck. And I thought, well, he's going to call the office. And, he's going to cover his tracks so he doesn't look stupid for not finding the leak. And he drove off. He just left. So I called the plumbing company. I said, your guy left. What's going on here? I need the water turned off. I got water running in my bedroom. What's going on here? And they said, he just called and says you're a witch and he's not coming back.
Yeah.
So I guess they drew straws to see who had to come back out here that day. But I finally got somebody out here.
You don't have to be anything to learn to use dowsing rods.
No. It's all energy that you can't see. But if you listen very, very quietly, you can feel it and you can sometimes hear it. Energy is energy, people. It's science. It's science. So
Mr. Caldwell, we think it was by the answers that he gave us, yes and no. We think it was the man who originally built the house in 1910. So we think he's the one that had the pipe.
Or it was symbolic of him. Doesn't necessarily mean he smoked a pipe, but there was a relationship that would make it symbolic for him.
Well, I think
people take some things too literally, I think, in these investigations.
Probably, but I think you asked, is the pipe associated with you?
Oh, did I? I don't remember.
You did.
This is why I have to have people with me, because I go into a zone.
Well, yes, and she was in the zone, but the problem is sometimes she gets carried away and she's asking yes, no questions when you can't give a yes or a no. She's not being specific enough. So
I
I was
call it
like,
spiritual ADD. I get too excited and you
and
have
we
to
were
slow down and think about it.
when we went in that room, I immediately felt a female presence, and you know,
Mhm.
uh, they had seen a child or heard a child, and but this person that was residual energy was the young woman that was pregnant. So
Well, and I have a theory too, because people talk about seeing and hearing children in a lot of locations. And I think that sometimes we don't take into consideration that people's personalities were different in those time frames, and people were much more naive a lot of times and
mm,
more childlike
mhm.
up into their teens and 20s, because they just weren't exposed to so much. So sometimes, I mean, if I really care and I think it makes a difference into the investigation, I'll ask their age. I'll get specific, and we'll do like the horse thing, you know tap 3 times for 20, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So but generally it doesn't matter. Oh my gosh, I got to turn my background off. I'm sorry, hang on.
So from there, we went back into the living room, and still, she asked the dowsing rods, are there any issues in here? The answer was no. And then we went on into the kitchen.
My favorite place. That was a wonderful room.
Oh God, this was actually new construction. However, um, it had some of the, old wood was all the way up
Mhm.
to the edge of the kitchen there. And there was a woman there.
Sarah Ann.
And that's what you heard, right?
Mhm.
And we found out that she was a cook, and like a almost member of the family, but what she did was cook for them. And we think that it was the original family, or part of the original family, sometime between 1910 and 1970, when the house was moved.
Yeah, I didn't really, now that I think I didn't really ask her what time frame we were in.
No, we didn't. We didn't ask.
But okay, what kind of clothes did I see her in? I would say probably in 40s type clothing. I didn't even think about that.
Well, that kind of makes more sense because there's also writing on the wall in what was the master bedroom. So this was behind the wallpaper that said something to the effect, uh, house bought for $1,000.
Yeah, house $1,000.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
that's what
so
they bought the wood for, and I think he built it.
yeah, that makes sense.
So, so
All right.
they would be just starting out, and then you add 30 years to that, they would have children, grandchildren, heaven knows. So from there, we went back into
But let me tell you this. The resident of the house made a comment that sometimes she would wake up and smell beans cooking, and there's no beans cooking. And then she makes this, she says, my beans always are wonderful, always. And she's telling us that I'm like, I don't like beans, but I better try some of these beans because I don't want to be rude. And I'm going to tell you, it was nectar of the gods. I've never had beans like this in my life. Never, 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 never. So I thought that to me, that was the most intriguing part of this whole story.
yeah, uh, to wake up and smell beans cooking, and the husband went in there and went, well, there's no beans cooking. What's going on? So,
Yeah, he was hungry.
yeah, there are a lot of different ways that spirit can pique your interest. They can just kind of be in the room, and you can feel their energy. Uh, they can elicit a smell that can wake you up, or all kinds of things.
All
So,
right. Yeah. Yeah. So
so then,
that was
yeah,
my favorite part.
well,
It
that was not
was.
my favorite part, but we're going to get to it here. So
That's because you're
back
spooky. You're
that we went
spooky.
back into the master bedroom and kind of reestablished, yeah, there's not really anything going on here today. And this is where they had seen the shadows moving across the room. And we talked about that a bit. And then
Oh, but wait a minute. I did ask the question of like, do things come and go in this room a lot? And the answer was yes. And I said, so what I'm picking up is this is almost like a bus depot here. And it said yes. So it's like the things are just in and out there, but there's nothing like attached, nothing that stays there. It's just, it's like a family reunion visiting place or something. I don't know how to
well, I
describe it.
think it's because the homeowners are sensitive to it.
Yeah.
And, when someone's sensitive to it, they can actually attract it.
Yeah.
So,
I think you're right.
it just threw them off in the beginning. So then we go into the bathroom, and that's where you found different things attached to.
No, we were in the closet. We went to the closet next.
Okay.
I did the bathroom last.
So the bathroom was here and the closet was here. This was all a part of the original house, but the bathroom had been the second bedroom closest to the master. They think it was a nursery because of the kind of wallpaper they found on the wall.
Right.
So they turned that into their bathroom. And then what was originally the hallway had been closed off by part of the master bedroom, and they made that into their closet. So now bathrooms are wet, right? But when we went into this closet, it was like, it felt wet. It smelled wet. And that was strictly something we were smelling. It was not really wet nobody else said, I said, this smells wet. And I don't remember Martha saying anything, but the homeowners were like, no. And then we started asking about water sources.
And I've been hollering about that all day. Water sources.
And she was, well, there is an active creek that runs at the back of the property. And we were like, okay. Originally when we came in, we were asking about water sources. But Deborah and I both felt that it felt wet in that closet. And there was a chair there where she has a makeup mirror, where she puts her makeup on. And Deborah sat down in it, and I thought she was going to faint.
I thought I was going to faint.
She says,
I thought I was.
I'm feeling a well here, a well. And what I was seeing was something round, and it had a white top, but then it went down like a tube, but it didn't look like any kind of tube, any metal tube. It was like dirt, and you could see it kind of waver back and forth. And I was like, well, there's some sort of underground spring there. I'm thinking 80 to 100 feet down.
But see, I don't even think that's an accurate description, because I kept going, it's not a well, it's not a cave, it's not a cavern, it's not man-made, but it's too structured just to be a natural orifice in the ground.
And that's what
I like the word orifice.
And
but the thing that was interesting to me is I asked Luann, I said, did you see it visually? And she said yes. And the first thing out of her mouth was, it had a white rim around it. And I'm like, exactly. So we were seeing the same thing, but initially I got sick. I got really, really sick. I almost passed out. It wasn't like it was anything horribly negative. It was just so much sensation, like on a roller coaster when you drop so fast. And I got very nauseous, and they had to bring me pickle juice because that was the only thing I could think of that was going to calm my stomach down, so I didn't throw up on all of their clothes. So
anyway, we really feel it was a portal.
Yeah.
And that's probably the other reason so many things come and go.
Yeah. So we'll take care of that during our next visit as well. We didn't do any cleansing, just so you know. We were there just to inspect and to see if there was something that we wanted to do and to work with.
We did make sure that nothing was of a dangerous nature to the homeowners.
Yes. Well, that's just due diligence,
Well, I don't want people to think we were just dismissing everything.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right.
if there had been anything that had been an immediate danger to them, we would want to dispel that or get that out of the house.
I did have a light I didn't like. I made them put frankincense on the light and we blessed it because it just didn't fit. It was just off. There was and I don't know. I can't even tell you what it was, but once we blessed it with frankincense, it was okay. It was okay. But I could not take my focus off that light. And then I'd be like, if you want me to be able to function, we got to take care of this light. I know I'm weird. I can't help it.
So when we went out of that closet, then we were into the new construction. And there's another half bath back there. And then they had stairs to that area that they had put over the garage.
That's a full bath. It's a bath and a shower.
It is. It's a full.
And the shower is lined with the wood that was taken from the original building as well.
But you didn't find anything in particular in that room, did you?
No, everything was coming out of the closet, which is right next to it.
Right.
But the thing about it is that the room was off kilter. So you're in the master bedroom, you walk through a door, you're in the master bath, and then you turn to your right, and then you're going to walk into the closet. So as you come out of the master bath, it gets cattywampus. It gets a little more cattywampus in the bedroom, and then you go boom when you hit the closet. So it was just kind of like the trail of energy, basically, and that's where it all went boom. So
yeah, there was a lot of energy there, and I think it was because of that portal.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, the fun room was upstairs.
Was up the stairs.
That's where I got to. I was being a little ugly. I was being a little ornery
So
up
we
there.
go upstairs. Now this is where the construction crew were working on the air conditioner, and the guy was calling his assistant, and he kept calling him, and nothing happened. And man, you were right there. Why didn't you hand me the tape? I don't know what you're talking about. I've been down here for 20 minutes. I don't think they came back.
They didn't. He said they didn't.
No. So
they're probably with my plumber hanging out.
So he turned on the ceiling fan and he told us, sometimes there's a thing with the ceiling fan. And so it started out going the one direction, and all of a sudden you could see the fan kind of do this, and it switched directions. And nobody was touching this fan. He wasn't touching the switch. We weren't touching the fan. We were just sitting in chairs, and we were all going, well, look at that. And when we said, well, look at that, the fan goes back the other way. And then Deborah goes, is that the best you got? So the fan slows down. The fan slows down again and turns back the other way. I was just shaking my head. Yeah, don't play with the spirits, Deborah. But she did, and she continued to until
I won.
Until she decided that it needed to go the correct direction and made it turn the other way. So it's all about energy and how much energy does the spirit have. So one of the odd things in that room was a Confederate veterans certificate. That
I don't even know what that really is about. I
didn't go look at it. I wanted to examine it later when we bring the group. So
it was cattywampus.
And it was just something that was unique, and the homeowner liked it. So they bought it at a flea market, something. Anyway, there wasn't anything else in that room though, right?
No, we had a military trunk. It was clear, but when I used the dowsing rods with the certificate, the Confederate certificate. So my dowsing rods, I have a three-way system. We have yes, we have no, and then we have, oh my gosh, what the fuck, this is crazy, you're in trouble, or this is not good, okay, or it's not right. And so when I used the dowsing rods in relationship to that certificate, they went cattywampus and they went into their crazy mode. So
Oh,
there's a lot of, I don't want to say bad juju, but just some energy that needs to go. And the reason I was laughing about the fan is that not only did I turn the fan back to the right direction, I made it go up to 3 speeds. Because it had been on slow and it was going really fast by the time I got done with it. And it's just a demonstration of energy. How do you
right.
promote your energy? And today I'm burning up. I haven't been able to lower my energy from yesterday. So
So
I'm
we
burning up.
also, the homeowner also gave us a story about the air conditioner people
Yeah.
before the tape incident had heard something that sounded almost like a brawl in the other
Ballroom brawl.
room. People uh kicking each other, hitting each other, slapping each other, and they were like, "Do you hear that? What's going on?" So we don't know if that was particularly attached to anything. We didn't hear
Well,
that the day we were there.
no, but it does kind of support the idea that there's some kind of speakeasy or some kind of energy like that attached, because I get really weird focals and then I can't get off of them. I was focused on water sources and moonshine. And and so and it doesn't necessarily mean that they had it in the physical house, but maybe some of the wood or some of the furniture attached to the house now was in a speakeasy, or they, something of that nature. But for a house to be built way back in the country in 1910, that was not an uncommon thing to happen
Well,
in the South, because that's where they would put their speakeasies during the
they
Depression.
also they also between like 1970 and when this couple bought it, it was also a rental property.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
you don't know what else went on there.
So you just don't know. So anyway, I thought it was an interesting day. It was exhausting for me personally.
Hmm.
Um, it was fun though. I enjoyed
Hmm.
it. It's nice to go someplace where it's interesting and but you don't feel threatened or feel like you've got to be overly protective of people.
When you're just
So
finding out what the story is, and
yeah.
uh you don't have to protect yourself against something negative. Yeah.
So
Yeah, it
so
was a good
what
experience.
so what else do you think about our experience? What else do you want to tell them about it?
Um, well, it wasn't as taxing on me as it was Deborah, but I still was having to look out for her and her energy.
You
So
worked
I
hard yesterday.
so
You
I
took
had to
notes.
keep my energy up, and
Yeah, and she's keeping me in line, going, okay, okay, what are you doing now? What are you doing now? Stay focused.
because I had to stop and really transfer some Reiki energy, from the universe through her body while
Oh,
she was trying to pass out in the closet.
yeah, no, no, no. Tell them about that in detail. We skimmed over that. Tell them about that. And this is why people should not work alone. This is a great
Exactly.
example. So tell them
Right.
what happened and what you
So
did.
when we went into that closet and she was experiencing what later we decided was a portal, um, because it just felt like there was a lot of energy coming. In the beginning, she says, I'm either going to throw up or pass out, or so I just her head was hurting. So I put my hand on her head, and I accepted the energy and was requesting energy from the universe. I mean, that's where our Reiki energy comes from. To transfer to her to help her with her pain. So I immediately had a headache and back pain,
Mm.
which I know that she has. So some of that was transferring to me while I was trying to get the energy through her. But it was, so it's very taxing. It's not your pain because the minute I let go of her, my pain went away.
Well, and here's the thing. If I had let the energy just flow through me naturally, I would not have had any pain. What created the pain was that I was trying to keep the energy from flowing all the way through me, because I didn't want to have it take control, or for me not to be able to manage what was going on, because I knew immediately I was sitting on something that was beyond the house. This is not the house. And Luann and I have worked together in the past, and we have dealt with portals and openings and some really weird crap. And even when we were doing this the first time, I'm like, I don't believe this. Meaning I really don't believe this. But when when you're dealing with it and there's no other explanation for it, it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. You still have to deal with it. And
Right.
I am really probably a huge skeptic when it comes to the metaphysical world in general. And
Well,
I'm
and it
always,
helps, when you have a partner and you have somebody there dealing with it, it helps when you talk about it afterwards, because then you
collaborate.
thank you, collaborate
Hmm.
or corroborate what they've said.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I was trying to slow it down, if nothing else, because I wasn't doing a very good job blocking. And that's my fault. I'd kind of let my guard down because I was really enjoying my time with Sarah Ann, and I was digging that and having a cool time with the food and her, and just her energy was awesome. And I let my guard down, and so it was just like being hammered. Every little cell in your body is just like being hammered. So with Luann's reinforcement and her Reiki energy, I was able to knock it out. Um,
Sometimes you have
and
to be reminded, okay, just allow this energy to flow through you and back into the
yeah,
earth. Don't
yeah,
try to hold on to this.
yeah.
Allow it to flow
So
through.
and in fairness to me and my abilities or knowledge, we had a lot going on yesterday, and that was like it was a 7 hour day, but I think the investigation part was only about 3 hours total, 2.5
Right.
hours,
I think
you
so
know,
too.
but that's still a long time to be managing a lot of energies
Mhm.
and keeping yourself wide open to receive information and stuff. But I got a great gift yesterday. I got a new gift yesterday. I love this because the more you do, it's just like working out. The more you do it, the better you get at things. So I love my dowsing rods, and I've used them for years. But the dowsing rods, I've always enjoyed the energy of them, and I love the fact that they respond so easily to me. I mean, they just always work. And I have people say, "Oh, you're moving your hands," and and I do my best to anchor my arms in and hold my hands still to kind of alleviate any doubt. Something, but if they want to doubt, that's up to them. But if I feel like my hands are shaking because I'm tired, I will shake my hands out and I'll start over. I started hearing conversation from my rods yesterday. I know that sounds crazy. And you could hear it in my because I talk out loud to my rods. And I try to say the questions out loud, and I try to keep them yes, no questions. But I'm like having a conversation with them. And Luann's going, "You got to ask it yes or no." I'm like, no, I'm kind of hearing some stuff. we're kind of talking here. Leave me
Okay.
alone. So um, now I've got to figure out what kind of energy is attached to those rods and what's going on. Have I brought something? Because I do have an angel. Man, I'm really going out here today, aren't I? I am so out of my comfort zone. I don't talk about this a lot. You know, I've been underground with this stuff for years. I do have an angel that I work with that protects me. His name is Ignatius. I named my dog after him. Her name is Iggy.
But hey, other people have seen this angel, okay?
Yeah, lots of people, a lot. I even had a 12-year-old boy at a prophetic ministry meeting tell me he saw the angel. And the reason why it's interesting is that they all have the same description. The damn thing is 30 foot tall. And they all say that. They all say that. And me going, I don't have an angel. I don't believe in angels, blah, 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 blah. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. That's of the devil. Not going there. But some of us are just slow to come to the buffet. What can I say? Iggy's laughing at me. Shut up.
Don't be mean.
I'm not mean. He's just snarky. He's a smart ass.
So that was kind of our day. We ended up in the ceiling fan room. And then we just came back down and kind of rehashed some stuff really quick with the homeowners.
Mhm.
I do know that the female that lives there has been kind of on a rocky road with this energy stuff, more so than her husband has. And so I had brought her a hematite, thank God, and some amethyst.
Mhm.
So I really felt those two things would be best for her to help her ground herself and then ask for enlightenment. Because the husband is already in that zone.
Yep, pretty much. So that was our day in a nutshell. And we went to Bucky's.
So the
And it was,
exciting part,
and I
Deborah,
was totally overwhelmed. It was too full.
the exciting part was not Bucky's. The exciting part is now that we have been to this home and felt this energy and feel that there's nothing that is innately evil or bad or negative.
Dangerous.
We want to give people an opportunity to have some training by going there. So
God, you
Deborah
sound like
and
an
Martha,
infomercial. You're really good at
yeah,
this.
I thank you. So Deborah, this is the fun part. This is the part that you're going to find out, and you're only going to find out if you read us to the end here. If you watch us to the end. I'm all about reading, aren't I?
Yeah. Read
Until
this
you
to
watch
the
it.
end.
So you need to contact Deborah if you are interested in having a 1-day seminar to learn to ground yourself, to learn to feel the energies that are going on there, and to make it a beginning effort at ghost hunting 101.
Well, it's you, it's me, it's Martha Decker.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to teach you how to ground yourself. We're going to walk you through a meditation for you to connect to your higher spiritual self once you're grounded. We're going to show you different ghost hunting equipment because we did use electronic equipment as well yesterday. And we're going to show you how they do all this stuff on all these different shows. And that's where Martha's like the expert on that as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
Luann's going to help you set your intent with your crystals. We'll have crystals for everybody. And then we're going to turn you loose for dinner, let you go feed yourselves, get fortified. And then we're going to do an actual investigation of the house. We're going to see if the energy's changed, if anything's different, and we will cleanse the house as we go through and settle it. So who
Because
knew?
after our goal is to cleanse the house and help the energies either move on or calm down.
Right. Right.
I mean, that's the ultimate goal. Many people, you will see them, oh, it's something terrible and it touched me, and they run
Well,
out
something
screaming.
did touch the man that lives there. Something did touch him yesterday.
Yes.
And I just told him, get over here and stand by me and quit bugging people. We're busy. So we didn't have any more issues with that I'm aware of.
No.
And but that was the gentleman with the pipe smoke. And I think he was wanting him to tell us to leave, but that wasn't going to happen.
Well, I think the homeowner has actually talked to Mr. Caldwell.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm
you
not
know,
going. Here's another thing. I will not call most people by their names when I'm doing this because it gives them more authority than I want them to have. I have to be very, very trusting and very, very comfortable with them before I'll call them by their name, even in conversation. Even with Sarah Ann, I did not call her Sarah Ann to her face.
so, but Mr. Caldwell, since he was the original builder of the house, and I didn't, the homeowner has never felt anything negative from him.
They've never really felt anything negative. It's just disconcerting when you have things happening and you don't have any way of explaining them, you know.
Right.
And nobody likes that. And we may not be accurate, but we have possible explanations.
Correct.
So now this little class or training or get together or meet up or whatever you want to call it that we're doing is worth it just for one reason only, if nothing else. And that's because the homeowner's going to make snacks. And she's a great cook.
And we already tell you what a great cook she is. But
So
I think that you can at least learn and from being grounded and having the guided meditation, learning how to program a crystal. Even if you don't feel any of the energy, and I think you will, it's just really high energy there.
So we're doing this. I had to get my calendar out. I'm not reading anything. I'm not bored.
I'm reading.
She does. She goes, I know when you check out, you start reading stuff. July 29th, which is a Saturday. And we will have more details up specifically when we start advertising this, but we're thinking we'll meet around 1 p.m. This is in Sulphur Springs. You are responsible for your own transportation. And we will probably wind up the investigation between 8 and 9. There will be a 2-hour break in there for you to drive into Sulphur Springs, which is just 10 minutes away from where we're at, and get your dinner and all that. You'll be on your own for dinner. So that's what we're thinking about. That's what we're doing, and we'll be getting the details out.
Yep. Right now, it's just kind of a fluid thing. We know the date, July the 29th. We've already cleared it with the homeowners.
Well, and let me tell you something. One of the reasons why we decided to do this, we're doing a really neat investigation in October at the Adolphus Hotel, but it is not going to be open to the public. This is for a private group. And so many people expressed an interest in attending something like that's kind of what gave us the idea to see maybe this will draw some interest. And if people like this and they are interested, there's not any reason why we couldn't do this like once a quarter. So like if you have a friend or someone that has a house that has a lot of activity, we'll come for free, check out the house, see if it's, something that we think that we can work with or through or whatever. And then if you want it to be cleansed and all that stuff, then we could schedule one of these around the house. And it doesn't cost them a dime, so it's going to cost you a dime if you come, but not
because we're going to be doing some suggestions, trainings,
because we're worth it.
Yes.
What was that commercial for? And Clairol, because you're, or L'Oreal, one of those, because you're worth it.
Because you're worth it. I don't know, but I just feel like it'll be a good thing if you're interested in any kind of ghost hunting.
Yeah, I hate calling it that, but
it's not going to be like anything you see on TV. Okay.
No.
And one of the things is that
somebody might scream and run out of the house. You never know.
You do not have to wait until it gets dark to do an evaluation.
No, it was broad daylight.
For drama. If spirit is there, it will be there regardless.
Well, and frankly, if you're dealing with shadows, you see them better in the daylight because there's a huge contrast between light and dark. If it's dark and then you have a dark shadow, you're like, well, what the hell was that? Was that a glimmer from the refrigerator door because somebody got a snack? What was that? Don't even get me started. All right, tell them where to find you, Miss Luann Morris.
Find me at herbal-lou.com or herballou1105@gmail.
Here you go. Crystal Teague's not with us today, but she's part of our team. This Baruti Spa in downtown Garland on Main Street. Is it Main Street? I don't know what street it is. But anyway, Baruti, Baruti Spa. Facials, reflexology, all kinds. Look, this takes work. This takes work. And I am Deborah Colleen Rose, private investigator, isgu.com. spiritual coach and handwriting therapist, DeborahColleenRose.com, and entertainer and interactive profiler at parties and all kinds of things with Luann and all kinds of people. We have a violin player from Russia now. If you want some beautiful music, milesofsmilesevents.com. So there you have it.
What email do you want people to email you at for the ghost experience?
You know, I didn't really think this through years ago when I was branding myself on Google, but the email that I use for everything is Deborah Colleen Rose at Gmail. And it's just like on the screen here, except there's no spaces. Deborah Colleen Rose at Gmail. Okay.
Great.
And
Tell
if
us
you
you're
don't get a
interested
response
in-
within 12 hours, that means I did not get the email and you need to send it again. Okay.
And you need to tell us you're interested in learning about the energies at what, Sulphur Springs?
Well, they're going to have to tell me something. So yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I saw your podcast. You're cute. I just want to say hi. Will you date me? Well, ask my husband.
So other details to come in the future soon.
All right. All right. See y'all later. And I won't lose
Bye.
this video, hopefully.